The door is always locked with an iron chain. Everyone in this house fears death if they try to move it. They dare not make a sound under the bed. Children must be taught to prevent unnecessary noise. They avoid monsters and live in underground darkness all year round. Every day they will mark the wall. Today is their 301st day hiding underground. To survive here, they must obey 3 absolute rules. First, do not speak loudly. Second, do not lose control of emotions. Third, no matter what sound they hear from outside, they must not open the door. Now, they only have 13 cans of food. The mother decides to save all the cans for her daughter. The mother and father dare not look for food. However, when the daughter just opened a can, she found the can was empty. The hole in the can shows that it must have been a rat. The mother immediately checks the remaining cans, and all the cans have been eaten. They find the rat that stole the canned food, and the father pulls out a small knife. He uses the rat's life to pay the can's debt. However, before they approached, the rat was startled by the sound, and the father failed to catch it. Seeing the rat going back to the hole, the mother quickly crushed it into a flat rat. But at that moment, they found that the oil lamp. Seeing the fire getting bigger, the father quickly pulled his wife and daughter to hide. In a flash, the lamp exploded, and the table caught fire. Although they prevent the spread of the fire, they cannot prevent smoke from escaping. It is now dark, and the monster will find the smoke and leave. However, the mother always feels uneasy. She finds that the dust produced by burning wood covers the ventilation area. Just in case, they decide to take a risk and clean the dust before the monster finds it. When they left, they specifically reminded their daughter that, no matter what sound she heard from outside, do not try to open the door. After the father opened the chain, they crawled out one by one. The daughter stood in her place alone. After a while, she decided to do something for her parents. She took the binoculars and saw her parents observing the surrounding environment. She saw a black shadow appearing in the distant forest. The daughter was afraid that the monster was coming and shouted to call her parents. Because of the closure for too long, they could not hear her voice at all. So she ignored her parents' previous warnings, opened the underground door, and crawled out from underground. She shouted at her parents without caring about everything, and her mouth was covered by a pair of hands. The mother, with a tense face, told her not to make a sound anymore. When the father came to check the situation, the daughter was already so anxious that she couldn't speak. She just stared back in fear, and it turned out to be a few frightened deer. The father finally breathed a sigh of relief, but the careful mother thought, if the deer are frightened, there must be something chasing away. Quickly crawl underground, close the exit door, and lock the iron door. At that time, the outside was like hell on earth, and people had disappeared. After closing the iron door, the father listens to the sound from the door. They quietly listen to the sound from inside. The sound of footsteps is getting closer. The family dares not make a sound. They carefully follow the sound of footsteps to the roof. Through the sound, they determine that there is only one monster outside and calm their daughter. But at that time, the sound of footsteps from outside is heard again. It seems that a group of monsters has come. The family's heart beats fast instantly. They follow the monster's steps to the exit door. The monster also stops right above them. The father stares at the mother. His eyes tell the mother not to make a sound. The mother understands. She turns and sees a toy doll in her daughter's hand. The toy accidentally hangs on a screw. The rusty screw suddenly falls, making the doll make a sound. The father snatches the doll, cuts its back with a knife, takes out the sound box from inside, and steps on it until it is crushed. Even so, they cannot escape from the monster. They see the door handle slowly turning. Then the family is shocked and attracts the attention of the monster. The monster pulls the steel door strongly, damaging several. Strengthen the steel door. The mother crawls up the stairs and holds the iron chain to buy time. When the father crawls into the hole with an iron pipe, the last iron chain also breaks. The door is opened by the monster. A pair of anxious eyes suddenly appear in front of them. The father lifts the steel pipe to drive away the monster. They close the steel door again. What's strange is, the monster seems not to move. When they think the monster will not come, the entire underground room starts to shake. It turns out the monster has brought a group of peers. They directly blow up the steel door. They stare into the underground room. The gaze of the monster's eyes just makes people shudder. They see the monster jump made can give them time to escape temporarily. They see the father open the ventilation and send the mother to check the situation. After ensuring safety, they pull their daughter up. When it's the father's turn, he gets stuck in the narrow pipe mouth. He asks his wife to pull his hand. Then he turns his body strongly and breaks his arm. He has to be pulled out by his wife before the monster enters. But when half of his body crawls out of the hole, half of his body is pulled by the monster. The father knows that if he goes down, his wife and daughter will also die there. So he asks his wife to take good care of their daughter. After finishing, he lets go of his hand and decides to stay. He gives his wife and daughter time to escape. Seeing her husband caught by the monster, although the wife feels sad, she still firmly takes her daughter away. They run all the way. They hide in the forest from the monster chasing them, but they are still trapped by the capture net fired by the helicopter. It turns out the monster they thought was a land monster is the soldiers standing in front of them. At first, when the virus had just spread, the mother already felt something was wrong. The woman suddenly realized that all her neighbors chose to move on the same day. They seemed panicked. They met something frightening. Even when they greeted them, they were ignored. Without thinking more, they also chose to run away with others. They didn't walk far before they found that their neighbors turned back. The couple looked confused. After their car was forced to stop, they found that the road ahead had been blocked by the government. The reason is that a virus has emerged in the small town. They ask everyone to return to their homes and wait for news from the government. Before people could understand the situation, stones suddenly fell from above. They saw the whole mountain shaking violently, like a beast about to wake up. In a flash, fighter jets appeared and went straight to the sky above the small town. Without warning, they dropped missiles and bombarded the small town without caring about anything. They tried to kill the virus. In a flash, the small town was buried in a sea of fire. After 2 fighter jets bombarded the small town, they turned around and attacked the people. They were immediately frightened and ran to the top of the mountain. Because his wife knew, not far from there was a shelter that was almost unknown to people. When they had just run to the top of the mountain, the sound of the explosion came from behind. It seems that the government has no plans to leave people alive at all. This small family quickly arrived at the shelter door. Before the bomber came, they quickly crawled in and survived. After the surface bombing ended, the daughter was shocked to find her mother's hand was torn and severely injured. The family just realized that the virus mentioned by the world can spread through the air, and they all may have been infected due to the mother's wound. To hide, they can only live in the underground shelter. Here, food is abundant. This allows them to survive for a full 300 days. The monster they referred to is the soldiers wearing respirator masks. After the mother and daughter were captured by the capture net, the soldiers took their blood. They raised their weapons in an orderly manner and were ready to shoot the mother and daughter infected with the virus. However, when the commander gave the order to shoot, an unknown creature suddenly appeared. One by one, the soldiers were killed in seconds. People just reacted and found that the father who protected his daughter with all his heart was the virus they meant. If they lose control of their emotions, they will turn into zombies full of aggressiveness. That's why they warned their daughter not to lose control of their emotions. After changing, their speed and strength far exceed ordinary humans. Facing bullets that have a very strong penetrating power, the husband can still be paralyzed. After he falls, the blood vessels in his body slowly recede. He slowly loses his breath. Seeing her husband die in front of her, her daughter will also soon be shot dead by the soldiers. The mother can no longer control the explosion of emotions. She lets her daughter let go and pulls the soldiers to the ruins next to her. She uses the surrounding advantages to launch a counterattack against the soldiers, but she still gets captured by the soldiers. When the soldiers are ready to give a deadly shot, her daughter, who is next to her, suddenly gets angry and attacks the soldiers. When she sees the soldier will be stabbed to death by her daughter, the injured mother screams loudly to stop her. She doesn't want her daughter to become an uncontrollable killing machine. This is the first time their daughter has turned into a zombie. At that time, she had completely lost her sanity and attacked her injured mother. But hearing the mother's words, The daughter finally regained her sanity. At that time, the helicopter came again, and they could only run away again. They crawl through the ruins and enter the tunnel next to it. There, they meet their neighbor's child from before. He takes them into the tunnel. After the boy opens the iron cover, they just find out that their neighbors are actually hiding inside. At that time, everyone was already used to this hiding life and didn't care who was infected with the virus. As long as the people they love are by their side, it is enough to support them to survive, and they are forced to live underground again. The movie ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.